This isn't deja vu, guys. Don't adjust your sets. This is a brand new video and it's all around what came last week with the live weekly event. For me, just had one of those weeks. Coming back, getting settled with everything, and the only thing I wanted to do today after such a stressful day at work was jump on and play Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. I'm sure many of you guys have had the same feeling, so we're going to go back here and go through the live weekly events. First of all, over at Dam Straight, the 2-lap circuit race here, 15% asphalt, 85% gravel. Now, of course, we did have a bit of an issue with the live weekly events. We never, at the time I recorded it, never managed to unlock the sticker at the end of it, and there was a bit of a bug with it, so I wanted to go back and enjoy the weekly event, trying to set some reasonable lap times that I didn't set in the first go around because I knew there was that issue. Kind of threw the video together. I just landed back in the country and I wanted to have that video together to showcase what we had for the live weekly events. But this time around we're going to go back in, we're going to try and set some tactful lap times in the Lancia Delta Integrale, in the classic Ford Mustang, in the Lamborghini Urus, and enjoy the live weekly events. Like I mentioned, really stressful getting back into the swing of things after a holiday. Workload was huge and I just wanted to stop, unwind and play Test Drive Unlimited. It's a strange feeling because not a lot of people have got that right now. I'm still one of those guys. I do still have that feeling, still thoroughly enjoying the game. So for this week, what the plan for this week is today we're going to go back through, do the live weekly events. For the rest of the week I'm going to go back over to the Hong Kong Island map, going to explore some of the races that we did have there because we've got some fantastic races there. But what we can now do is use some of the new cars we've got, perhaps use some of those Celine Edition cars on the Crown Jewel races. I think we've got some good races sitting there and some fantastic cars, so we're going to explore that again this week. Then moving into perhaps Friday or into next week, I think I'm going to have a look at Assetto Corsa Evo. Now, I know a lot of you guys have kind of spoke about it in the comments of the recent videos. I've obviously watched the comments when they come through. And Assetto Corsa Evo is looking very, very interesting. Yes, it's in its infancy, but I think I'm going to take a look at it, whether it's this Friday or whether it goes into next week. Still got lots to do in Test Drive Unlimited, I do feel, so we're not moving away from that one just yet. But we're here, we're on TDU, we're on the live weekly events, we're in the Lancia Delta Integrale. We've already completed most of lap 1, guys. Let's get on with the action that we have got here. Down the back straight, like we already know, we want to make this as straight as we possibly can. This time round, hopefully making a better job of this right-hander before the start-finish straight. The previous effort, we went in there far too heavy, going off wide on the track. We do make a better effort this time out as we do cross the start-finish line to start off lap number 2, going in a bit heavy into turn 1, which is unfortunate. Don't think we've lost all too much time just there though. Maybe losing a little bit more time than I wanted to start off this lap. However, we will push on round the big sweeping right-hander. Big power slide here in the Delta Integrale, like we always tend to have. Phenomenal rally car, like you know, huge rally pedigree, so it is set for this challenge, far greater than the Abarth 500 for this. It's a very strange match that they have done with the Abarth 500 and the Delta Integrale for this off-road race. I don't quite understand the car matching, but as we push through this left-hander into right-hand, a bit of a long sweeping chicane there, but we'll push on up the hill where we will get ready for the big right-hander that is coming up here. We want to have a nice power slide coming in and around this one, which we tried to engage, but we actually seem to get a bit more grip there, a bit more traction that we really wanted to have, so we didn't get the power slide that we desired. Coming around that right-hander again, keeping tight to the inside right, using the bank there to move the car around the corner, much like we just did with that left-hander into this right-hander. Try not to go deep like I tend to have went deep in the previous videos. Keep it nice and tight, which is good. Come off the bridge nice and tightly through the right-hander into the left-hander. Again, a bit of a power slide we want to engage. We do get that power slide into the left-hand hairpin, almost hairpin that we've got just here. Feel like we could have carried more speed through that one, but we've got through it all together. We push uphill, we know we've got that big right-hand hairpin. Come in a little bit cautiously, engage a big power slide using the e-brake and power out of that one, second gear up into third, and we prepare for that big back straight once again, trying to make it straight as possible. Keep tight to the left hand side right here, move over to the right hand side of the track. We want to straight line this to not lose any speed at all. We have largely done that, but this time out of course we're going a little bit slower into this right hander so we don't overextend it, a little bit tighter on that apex. We make a better job of it than we did in the previous video, and we cross the start finish line. Easy win in the first race for today in the Lancia Delta Integrale. When we do take a look at that leaderboard, Absolutely no surprise there. GR Pacuvius and Asayun top of the board, a 1 minute 51, a 1 minute 52. We managed to do a 1 minute 59, so there's a lot of time still on the board there. Smithy MC, we can see with the 1 minute 58, regular viewer of the channel. Fantastic to see you guys up there in the leaderboard. So yeah, there's still some time on the board there to move up to the likes of Christoph, Esteves, Asayun, GR Pacuvius. Some very fast times on the board there. Must improve on that one. But these are just one shots that I am doing here. I'm not, stressing over it. Just wanted to come on for an hour and play the game. So we're setting reasonable times so far. We'll move over straight into the second race for today. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to jump into the Lamborghini Urus for this cross-country race up against the Porsche once again, like we had in the last race, but we do get a better launch this time out, and we box off the Porsche through that first little corner into the right-hander here, preparing a little bit better this time out, staying nice and close to those rocks on the right-hand side, and we can start to play about with the Urus, let this thing slide about underneath us, and just have fun with this car. Like I've mentioned many times before, I do feel this one to be the best cross-country vehicle in game. I will argue with that one. I know a lot of people love the Centero buggy. I can't get used to using it. I don't like its handling. Yes, it is unbelievably quick. It is very, very fast. Those that can use it do say it very fast lap times. But for me, it was a Range Rover Sport for fun. But the all-round cross-country car for me is indeed the Lamborghini Urus. We can see right here, it's fairly lively. It's fairly bouncy, but it gets the power down fantastically well. Of course, it being lively and bouncy is due to the tune that I have built for this one. It rides the way I want it to ride. So could it be tighter? Could it be a bit cleaner? Yes, it certainly could. I wouldn't have as much fun with it. I love watching this thing bounce across the track, bounce out of some of these corners, watch the back end just throw around on this thing. I have tons of fun with this car. I won't change that tune. I've shared it with you guys. Some of you guys seem to really enjoy it as well, so that's absolutely fantastic. But for me, yeah, this is the best cross-country car. I'll leave that one there. We'll push on with the rest of the race that we have got here, and we do pick it up at quite a lively point in the track. Right hand, left hand, right hand, left hand, and we can see just how messy we are there, but we're still carrying a lot of speed. We're not losing much time through that little messy section just there, and we're still seem to be setting quite a reasonable time here in the Lamborghini Urus. A big power slide round that right hander. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the power down well enough, or get the traction well enough to keep us off the wall. But we're not losing any time, which is key here. We want to be saving as much time as we possibly can through the left hand, right hand, left hand, cutting the corners where we possibly can. The Lamborghini being very, very forgiving coming through some of those corners. I couldn't think of the word just there. Big power slide round the right hander. We know this one tightens up as we do come uphill there, just managing to grab that one before we do go wide, and we do push uphill. Like we can see, the back end of this thing is stepping out on us round this little left hander. We cut that corner, we try to save some time just there, cutting that little left hander once again nice and tight round the right hander. The banking unfortunately pushing us across the track just a little bit, which does unsettle us coming in through that left hander just there. But again, we're not losing all too much time, if any. Apart from this corner here, we do go in very deep, but once again, with this being an absolute monster off-road vehicle, when we do go off the track and we go up that hill, we still manage to get some traction down there, and we push down this downhill part, where I did make a very big mess of this in the first go-round, in the first video here, but I wasn't overly concerned because I knew I wasn't getting the reward. I just wanted to get the race over done with, get the content out there so we could see what kind of race that we did have. Unfortunately, clipping a wall just there, like I did in the previous go-around. So there are plenty of parts of this track I can clean up and make a better effort of, but overall, I've said it many times before, I think the cross-country races are some of the best races in this game. This one here highlighting it once again, the Urus having a fantastic effort of this cross-country race, and I am thoroughly enjoying what we have in front of us with this weekly challenge being focused on the cross-country races. Once again, crossing the line in first place. Not a lot of challenge with this weekly event. We do cross the line with a 3 minute 26, surprisingly up in 5th place. With not all too much effort, we can clean up that race quite a lot. We can see once again GR Pacuvius up there in first place. Asayun, interestingly not on the leaderboard here, so we're what, 8 seconds off of first place, and we can clearly see in that race there are 8 seconds to be made up there. It may be when I go back and jump into a little bit more, because I do feel we can make up those 8 seconds and most likely take first place on that leaderboard. We'll see what happens throughout this week, guys. We might jump back in and do that race one more time. But lastly, we're jumping into the Ford Mustang, and I left this race to last. After building the Mustang, I never had this car for this race section. Of course, it's the Mustang against the Alpine. I didn't have it for this race. I built this car Then I played about with it after the video, and I absolutely loved driving this thing. It's tons of fun, it's leery, it's lively, it's got 500 or 600 horsepower through an old ass rear axle. It's going to be lively and leery. I had tons of fun driving this. Yes, it's not the meta, it's not the OP car for this race, it is the Alpine. I know I'm not going to be quickest here, but when we bring in the fun factor that this Mustang brings, second to none as far as I'm concerned. I absolutely had a ball driving this. This is the key reason I really wanted to come back and do this live weekly event, minus the fact I never got the reward. But I had so much fun, in particular using this Ford Mustang. I wanted to come back and do it again, so hopefully you guys are enjoying it like I am. But with the race that we've got here, we want to try and be as clean as we can through these tight, bumpy sections. We know we're not as clean as we're going to be. We know the Alpine's going to be quicker and cleaner through a lot of these sections. But as it currently sits, the Mustang is delivering for us. We're having a ball, trying to be as clean as we can, bouncing through some of these turns. Like what we can see, the kind of build that I've done there for the Mustang, it's very soft, and I've tried to build it to be very forgiving. But the key part of this build is fourth gear. Now, fourth gear is essentially a one gear build for this car for the off-road sections. When we come to the on-road, yeah, we're going to get the power down, we're going to use fifth and surprisingly sixth gear in a classic Mustang. But fourth gear is the OP gear for the off-road races, the off-road parts of this race. Big power slide round the right-hander, that one got a bit lively there. We fully commit to this on-road section round the left-hander, right-hander will prepare for that hairpin up ahead. But what we'll focus on the last part of this track is how OP fourth gear is. It's essentially a one gear build here, with it being off-road, with it being a lively classic car that's not an off-road vehicle. We make a mess coming in through that hairpin trying to come in early. Well, fourth gear here is essentially a one gear build for this one for the off-road races. We have unfortunately just dropped down to third gear, but we came back up into fourth. This thing's going to spin the back end up constantly. It's got tons of power, it's got off-road tyres, and it's got a lack of traction. But what this actually gives us the advantage of here is we can use just one solitary gear, try to get as much traction wherever we possibly can, and not waste time by actually changing the gear itself. So essentially what we've built here is a one gear build. Ironically, we're in fifth gear right now. That's very unfortunate. It's not kind of living up to what I was trying to highlight with this car. We're in fifth gear. I wanted to try and stay in fourth gear as much as I can. You could go back and watch the early part of this race, and I largely stayed in fourth gear for all of that one. Big power slide to the on-road section. Unfortunately coming to a dead stop, almost there, the back end just lighting up on the spot, bit of a line lock almost with that one. It's really unfortunate how that one worked out. The race isn't going like I wanted it to be. I've not been able to demonstrate what I wanted to demonstrate with this one. It's very unfortunate. But the off-road section in the Mustang, it's a fourth gear one build, a fourth gear build for that one, a one gear build, whatever it is you want to call it. Making a mess of this one, guys. I must apologise. The Mustang, tons of fun. That's what I'm trying to get to. I hope you're enjoying the Mustang if you have chose it. We're going to cross the line. We're going to take another easy win here in race number 3 for today in the Mustang. Absolutely tons of fun. But when we do take a look at what we did there, well, we did get the points. We did get the sticker. Unfortunately, I rifled through that too quickly for the recording. Like I mentioned during the race, we know we're not going to be the quickest. We're not in the OP car. We're not in the Alpine. We are in the Mustang. We're down there in 56th place in the leaderboard with a 3 minute and 26. But with that being said, there is only 2, 3, 4 Mustangs ahead of us. So we're only 4 seconds off the fastest Mustang time with Siberius here in the fastest Mustang. So again, room for improvements. Might be something I'll go back and do and become the fastest Mustang on this leaderboard. Once again, like we already know, the Alpine A110 will be top of the board, and absolutely no surprise once again. GR Pacuvius, top of that board once again, with Asayun down in 5th place. A 3 minute one in that Alpine. I genuinely might go and buy that car just to see how much better it actually is than the Ford Mustang. Looking at that leaderboard, it's a lot better, but we have now unlocked the countryside sticker. I did rifle through it, unfortunately, but we have unlocked it for this weekly live event. So for me, it was really good to come back here, de-stress after what had been a crazy week coming back from a holiday, getting settled back into work straight away. My mind has just been full. So with that being full, all I wanted to do was play computer games, and I wanted to play Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown. Grateful to be able to do that. Yes, it was 11 o'clock on a Sunday night. I actually got back over to do this one, but I was grateful that I did manage to get back over and play the game. De-stress, enjoy my time on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, enjoy my time back on the live weekly events. The Ford Mustang here, like I mentioned, had tons of fun with this car after building it. One interesting thing I did notice, recording this little bit for the outro here, But something happened on the map, and it's something I haven't actually seen before. First of all, the backlights on the Mustang. I don't think there are duller backlights on a vehicle than what's on this Ford Mustang. Multiple times through the races I thought, are my lights even on? I couldn't even see the tail lights on this car. But something more interesting happened on the map, and it's something I haven't seen. We're going to get round to that just here. Look at the sky. Did you see that flash? It was like lightning, but instantly we got daylight. And it's the first time I've seen that happen on the map. Let me know if you guys have seen it before, but it was an instant flash. It was like they flicked the switch and it turned from nighttime to daytime. Just a little Easter egg to leave you guys all with today. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Stay tuned for more updates on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown.